let's learn the first line of the Anupallavi of Rupamu Juchi Varnam, which is Tapatraya Harudai. Velayu Shri. The Shri comes for the next line actually. Velayu Shri Tyagaraja Swami Idemi. Right? So, but when it is sung in Kalakshetra, it is repeated with the Shri there. Actually, it should be Velayu only, and Shri is for Tyagaraja Swami, but we have it in practice that it is sung along with the Shri. So now let's look into the Tapatraya. There are three kinds of Tapa, which means affliction or suffering, right? And the three kinds are Adhyatmikam, Adi Bhautikam, and Adi Devikam. The first one is the suffering which is brought by the soul, which also means other souls, where you do something, there is something done to you, and all of that, Adhyatmikam. Adi Bhautikam is where Bhutas, the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements which is around us. So it's earth, water, fire, wind, and space. So what the Bhutas have to do with our lives? For instance, if there are floods, then you are affected by the water element. When there is a hurricane, you are affected by wind. When there is an earthquake, it's the earth. So in so many ways, you are affected by the surroundings, the nature which is around you, which is made of these 5 elements. And Adi Devikam is something which is beyond our control. We don't choose our parents. We don't choose the place we are born in. And we don't choose certain parts of our lives. There are certain things which we design and certain things we don't. So these are the 3 Tapa, which is affliction, which is suffering. And he removes it away. That's what is given in these lines. And it is very, very, very important that these lines can be repeated in many, many contexts, but this is very important for Rupamu Juchi because Thiruvaru Sthalam is called the Mukti Sthalam, which means it frees you, right? So let us look into the 4 ideas which have been presented very beautifully by Atte. So let's enjoy it. First one is Tapa Traya Harudai Ivela Yushri. This is the straight meaning of it. There is suffering and there are 3 kinds and he takes it away. So there is a kind of a relief when you go into Harudai. There. There's a relief. You are burdened here and there is no burden at the end of it. Right? This is the first hand. Then when you go into the second one, which gets into much deeper levels of meaning. The second hand speaks about the previous birth and the burden of all the things which have been done before. See, it's very beautiful that you have to definitely reap the benefits or the negative effects of your action, no doubt. But imagine if you have to pay for the actions you did as a 3-year-old. You don't know that you did certain things. So in the context of the Indian thinking, we speak of several births. So imagine if just repenting or feeling or getting the effects of your actions as a child is burdening you. I didn't know, you'll say. Imagine if you had several births before and then you didn't know what you did and what you need to suffer. So that's a huge burden. So he takes off that. not the action, but the burden of the unknown, right? So when you do this, ta pa ta. So previous birth, traya harudai. So what happens in the previous birth? Did I do this? Did I do that? And the anxiety, in a second he takes it away. You see. For me, this hand shows, light. The light at the dark end of the tunnel, the light which says, there's hope. So you're not burdened by the actions and the anxiety of having unknown actions, right? So the anxiety is removed at one go. So it just takes it there, right? So it's a very beautiful usage. Just look at this. The anxiety and gone. And then you have this hand. So if you notice in Kopamo Seyakura also, you had the same hand. So this one, and so if you look at the intention behind it, it's so different from that in this. So this one is where he takes away the anxiety. So there is an ease with which he takes away and a relief which comes because of that. So this is the hand. Gone in a jiffy. So when you do this anxiety vanishes in a second, and then you have nothing to worry about. So that's the second hand. So it's anxiety. The first was affliction, suffering, right? The second is anxiety. The third is you're speaking about what is not in your control. That is Adidevikam. You don't know in whose womb you are formed. You don't know in which place you are born, right? So Tapatraya. This is a phenomenal usage. See, this is the womb of the mother, and you fall into the womb without your knowledge. You don't choose, right? Traya. And it makes you tired. It's not suffering, because you can still have a good life. But that he takes and discards it away. So why tiredness? When you're born, you're young and you're raised, then why should you feel tired? Again, the idea of many births come. So it's not about one birth that you're tired about. You are born again, right? And then you grow up and you die. Again the same cycle happens. Again the same cycle happens. Again the same cycle happens. So one thing is that this continuous cycle is almost like, binding. And that binding, it's not even the thing that, oh, I have to have another body, oh, I have to die again, oh, I have to take another body, is not what we think about. But the whole cosmic cycle, if you think about it, tires you. So that tiredness, he throws it away. It's a very beautiful movement of the wrist. You take something which you don't want, take it closer because you want to throw it far. So the wrist movement which goes in and throws it out needs to be really like throwing something. Take probably a piece of cloth and just discard it. So take it closer and discard. Harude ivela yushri. This one is also a very beautiful way of showing the form, right? So when you're showing this form, think that you are starting with the face, then you go to the shoulder, then you go to the hip, and then to the legs. So when you're doing either this, literally see a human form, start small because the head is small, go to the shoulder, go to the hip and the legs. So it's like something like that. So it's not it's not big. It's small for the head, little larger for the shoulder and the hip, and then small again. So it's a very beautiful usage. Again, wrist work really matters. Right? Then, so you spoke about suffering, you spoke about the anxiety of the unknown, then you spoke about the helplessness and the tiredness you feel with this continuing birth and death. And the last one is the idea of getting caught in a web, right? Tapa traya harude ivela yushri tapa traya harude ivela yushri. So in this world, beautiful, very attractive, gold in the sense wealth, right? And the entire, sort of an intoxication which all of this gives you. So usually we are always told about 3 asai. Asai is desire. Mannasai, ponnasai, pennasai. Right? Mannasai is the desire for land, for owning. So let's not take it as land. Mannasai in the sense possessions. Like you want to say, I own this, I own that, I do this, I do that, in order to own this and that, right? So that is the feeling of possession. Ponnasai is where you have wealth. So that is more to do with power, feeling of possession. This is more to do with wealth, right? Affluence. And the third is lust for the for a partner, for lust for physical satisfaction, right? So all these three things are considered to be the biggest distractions from your paths, because if these become the end, then you can have a very disciplined life as a means, but your end is taking you only to this. So the idea is that these can be means to achieve something greater, but not the end in itself. That's what we are trying to say. We are not trying to say you be ascetic, you be completely impoverished because you want to. That's not the point. The point is, can you use this as a means and not as the end, right? It's a very beautiful thought. So when you're doing this world, you can interpret it as Mannasai. This earth, this place where I stand, which is mine, which is my possession, I control it, that feeling. Tapa, this is mine. And then attractive, precious. all the beauty which wealth can get you. And then there is an intoxication because of lust. And then you realize that it's a trap. And then you're not saying, take me away from the trap. You're saying, let me not even get into it. Let me not fall into the trap. Think about this spider web and then you're falling as prey. Like you don't have to do much, you're just caught. And after that, what happens is what happens. But you help me, O Tyagaraja, not to even get next to the web. Keep me out of the web. This is what is the, and when you're doing this, Harude Ivela Yushri. So when you're doing this, don't get caught, not just to say, okay, distract me from them. No. Channelize me towards you so these things don't distract me. It's very common. Like when you want to do something really badly, you're not thinking twice to make sacrifices for that. Not because you want to sacrifice these things, but you have a much larger goal to follow. So you, O Tyagaraja, become my goal. So this mannase, pennase, ponnase will not matter to me, right? So this is Tapatraya Harude. I think it's a phenomenally thought out composition, and it's very important that we get into the, the corners of the choreographer's mind to really enjoy it. Enjoy practicing.